Measurement over the years has created various challenges for most organizations and raised so many questions. Perhaps it is due to the fact that human nature is based on wanting things to look simple, or the impatience which leads to compromising standards and also causing undiscipline in the way the management takes place through lack of discipline and through wanting to make decisions in a hurried fashion, as opposed to gathering all the facts, understanding what goes on, and presenting rational arguments and presenting evidence that can convince and enable the right decisions to be made. In a sense, organizational behavior can be compared to a negligent doctor who is in a hurry to prescribe drugs or to examine a patient in a micro fashion without understanding holistically what other factors might be causing an illness or creating discomfort, and thereby solving the problem and making the right decision. It is worth examining 10 critical elements where the compromised attitude that takes place can be explained. Right at the onset, the purpose of an organization is not understood widely within most organizations, and leaders who come in and embark on change programs and the developing new strategies fail to ask the question about the real reason why an organization exists in the first place, and the pledges and commitments that an organization has to honor. So how can we define a journey of an organization if we are not confident that we are articulating the real purpose and understanding the scope of activity and how an organization can operate and how wide its remit is and the scale of dynamic endeavor that can be allowed in order for the organization to grow, thrive, and impact in a meaningful way. The second thing is the vision itself. The extent to which a vision really articulates what stakeholders need and the impact subsequently that needs to be generated that will present the organization in good stead and will make its worthiness extremely valuable. In most cases, organizations drive performance and generate impacts by measuring economic gains without understanding the power of stakeholder happiness and stakeholder satisfaction, and without evaluating whether the value that is delivered is the value that needs to be delivered, which addresses the needs and expectations of the primary and even the secondary stakeholders on a regular basis. If profit orientation is the continuation of the existing mindset, this will severely compromise not only the purpose of the organization, but also its ability to be stakeholder oriented and to really deliver what the primary and secondary stakeholders need. And the push phenomenon of driving innovation for perceived value is not something that an inspired, enlightened customer, for instance, with value in today's climate, and a pull phenomenon is more appropriate by creating an open system, being connected, bringing in the stakeholders closer, and allowing them to be influential in the way value is being created. That is the best way to proceed. The third area of compromise is capability. Many organizations deploy all the means that they have in order to compete. Many organizations are perhaps average or insignificant in terms of all the know-how they possess. Capability in the context of a modern organization is to ensure that what matters in terms of know-how does exist and must be the core, must be preserved, must be enhanced, and must be boosted to achieve a distinctive level. Otherwise, average will give average or below average, and an organization that is threatened by extinction is one that compromises its role in building and developing its core capabilities. The fourth aspect is strategy. Strategy is depicting the path to success by ensuring that all the necessary means that are required for success are existing and are deployed in a smart way. A strategy is not a dream on paper, it's a dream that can be realized, and unless the necessary know-how exists or can be leveraged, the efforts will be futile, and as most studies have indicated, 70% of strategies fail to deliver because of the reason of not having the necessary means for delivering success. Enablement is the acid test. How can an organization bring in the different elements of enablement, the recipe that will ensure success, whether it is smart technology, fueling performance through innovation, or engaging human capital. These are all critical ingredients of success that must exist if performance at an excellent level can be expected. In today's environment, organizations that operate as open systems and drive through connectivity are the ones that are seeing the benefits by establishing smart partnerships, allowing collaboration to take place, and leverage smartly for the end benefits of their stakeholders. Closed systems will not allow the permeation of good ideas and best practices, and also restrict organizations from establishing smart partnerships and create an impossibility for establishing collaborative arrangements that serve the customers in the best way. The value creation in today's market is the only currency that is worth pursuing. Value is appreciated from its relative standpoint, and the dynamicity of organizations in constantly changing, revamping, and developing new means by which value can be created is the smartest way of remaining relevant and delivering something worthwhile. Insofar as innovation is concerned, the age of commoditization means fulfillment through replenishment, and the ability of an organization to engage its innovative capability so that the new requirements are being met, and so that the replenishment with value can be maintained at a desirable level. Shooting ahead of the duck means that an organization must continue to exploit technology, and the end outcome is for it to be relevant, to articulate the latest thinking, apply the latest, most innovative practices, and deliver value through the latest understanding of customer intimacy and requirements. This is the normal of today and must be allowed to exist for ensuring survivability and sustainability of any organization. And the continuation aspect is to ensure that the future is not compromised, is well preserved, not through a wish list, but rather through an integral strategic focus at the strategic level, so that the present and the intermediate are not allowed to supersede what future planning will be required for the organization to sustain itself. In a sense, therefore, performance excellence that is created in the context of dynamic behavior and interdependencies and a seamless plasma of transactional contributions and connected efforts to deliver value has to be based on two dimensions. One is what can be referred to as the dials of tangible performance excellence, which cover aspects of efficiency, effectiveness, and competitive analysis, and even tracking the progress of an organization to achieve a leading position and sustain its dominant position and sustain itself, but also a dimension which can be referred to as the dials of intangible performance excellence, by ensuring that what is being tracked is the level of permeability of data information and know-how to gain bigger insight, newer insight, relevant insight, the tracking of the health of the organization through measuring its dynamicity, its complex modes of behavior, its causal relationships, its collaborative efforts, and the overall leveraging aspects that creates value to the end customer. The third aspect is the renewability through adaptability of an organization, and ensuring that this is tracked on a regular basis so that the organization is relevant and is capable of preventing the accumulation of legacy systems through the prevention of inertia from setting in, and through the complacency in not proactively renewing itself, refreshing its momentum, and allowing itself to be at par with the most advanced disruptive mindsets. Agility is a sign of being healthy, being conscious, finger on the pulse, reacting to adverse situations, but also reacting to opportunities that may be available, and it has to be part of the new normal. The last dial that needs to be tracked in the future is disruptability, which means that an organization has to have the power of abandoning the status quo and creating better alternatives with flexibility and with being more responsive and with the power of not being obsolete, not being complacent, not being satisfied with what has been achieved, but propelling itself for even bigger heights and being a truly leader organization.